How thermostats work. Most people think a thermostat is some kind of power dial for heat. Turn it up a little, you get a little heat. Turn it up a lot, and maybe the house heats faster. But that is not really how it works. In most homes, a thermostat is much closer to an on and off brain than a heat strength control. It checks the temperature, compares it to the setting you chose, and then tells the heating or cooling system to start or stop. That simple idea has been around for a long time, but the way thermostats do it has changed a lot. So if you have ever looked at a thermostat and thought, "This thing seems too small to control the whole house," you are right to be curious. A thermostat is a tiny controller with a very simple job. It senses temperature, makes a decision, and sends a signal. That is the basic story, whether you are talking about an old mechanical thermostat from decades ago or a modern smart thermostat connected to your phone. The easiest way to understand a thermostat is to think of it like a referee. It does not create the heat. It does not make the furnace stronger. It simply watches the temperature and decides when the equipment should be running and when it should stop. If the room is below the target, the thermostat says turn the heat on. If the room reaches the target, it says turn the heat off. In summer, it does the same kind of thing for cooling. That brings us to one of the biggest thermostat myths. Many people believe that if the room is cold, setting the thermostat way higher will make the house heat up faster. In most standard home systems, that is not what happens. The heating system usually runs at the rate it was designed to run. The thermostat is mainly deciding how long it stays on. So if you set it much higher than you actually want, you are usually not getting faster heat. You are mostly telling the system to keep going until it reaches a higher temperature. That is why the thermostat is better understood as a control switch, not a gas pedal. Older thermostats show this idea in a very physical way. Before digital displays and phone apps, many thermostats used a bimetal strip or bimetal coil. This was a clever piece of simple engineering. A bimetal strip is made from two different metals bonded together. Because different metals expand and contract at different rates when the temperature changes, the strip bends as it gets warmer or cooler. That bending motion becomes the thermostat's way of sensing temperature. In many older home thermostats, the bimetal strip was wound into a coil to make the movement more sensitive and compact. As the room cooled down, the coil would slowly shift position. At a certain point, it would close an electrical contact and complete a circuit. That would tell the heating system to start. As the room warmed up again, the coil would bend the other way. Eventually it would break the circuit, and the heating system would stop. Some older thermostats also used a mercury switch. Inside was a tiny sealed glass tube with mercury in it. As the bimetal coil moved, the glass tube tilted. When the mercury rolled one way, it connected the circuit. When it rolled the other way, the connection broke. It was a neat solution for its time because it created a reliable switching action with very little mechanical complexity. The thermostat did not need a screen, a processor, or software. It just used temperature, metal movement, and a simple electrical connection. What is amazing is that this old design already captured the core idea of thermostat control. Sense the temperature. Compare it to the set point. Turn the system on or off. That logic did not change. The technology around it did. Then came the shift to electronic and digital thermostats. Instead of relying on a metal strip bending with temperature, many digital thermostats use electronic sensors. One common example is a thermistor, which changes electrical resistance as the temperature changes. The thermostat reads that change, calculates the room temperature, and then decides whether to call for heat or cooling. This made thermostats more accurate, easier to program, and easier to design with extra features. Suddenly you could have a clear digital display, daytime and nighttime schedules, separate weekday and weekend settings, and better control over comfort. Instead of manually changing the thermostat every morning and night, you could tell it what you wanted ahead of time. The thermostat was still doing the same basic job, but now it could follow a plan. That was a big deal for energy use. Heating and cooling are major energy costs in most homes, so even small improvements in control can matter. A programmable thermostat made it easier to lower heating or cooling when people were asleep or away, then return to a comfortable setting later. The comfort stayed more automatic, and the energy waste could go down. From there, thermostats kept evolving into smart thermostats. This is where the wall box stops being just a switch and starts acting more like a connected control system. A smart thermostat can often connect to Wi-Fi, be adjusted from an app, follow more advanced schedules, and in some models even learn patterns from the user. Some systems notice when people change the temperature at certain times and then begin to build a schedule around those habits. Others use phone location or motion sensing to decide when the home is occupied. That sounds futuristic, but the basic idea is still simple. A smart thermostat is still watching temperature and deciding when to run the system. It just has more information and more ways to make those decisions. Instead of only reacting to room temperature, it may also react to time of day, whether anyone is home, or what usually happens in the household. This is why the thermostat's evolution is so interesting. The old mechanical thermostat was almost entirely physical. Temperature changed the metal. The metal moved the switch. The switch controlled the system. A modern smart thermostat does something similar in a different language. Temperature changes the sensor reading. Software compares that reading to your settings. Then the thermostat sends a command. Same job. Different tools. And this is where another misunderstanding comes in. People often think the thermostat itself is doing the heating or cooling. It is not. The furnace, boiler, heat pump, or air conditioner is doing the real work. The thermostat is just the decision maker. It is the manager, not the muscle. That is why even a very advanced thermostat cannot magically make weak equipment powerful. What it can do is improve timing, comfort, consistency, and sometimes efficiency. The old versus smart comparison is really a story about control. Old thermostats were straightforward, durable, and often surprisingly elegant. They used pure physics to make a decision. Smart thermostats added convenience. They can be easier to use, easier to customize, and better at matching the home to real daily life. But underneath both versions is the same principle. The thermostat exists to maintain a target temperature by starting and stopping the system at the right times. There is also a comfort side to all this. A good thermostat does more than save energy. It helps your home feel stable. When a thermostat is accurate and well set up, the house does not swing as wildly from too cold to too hot. A smart thermostat can make that feel even smoother by following routines and adjusting automatically. But even a simple thermostat, when used correctly, can make a home more comfortable without much effort. So the next time you look at a thermostat, it helps to think of it in the simplest possible way. It is not a heat dial. It is not a speed booster. It is not a magic comfort button. It is a temperature watcher and a decision maker. In old models, bending metal made the decision. In digital models, sensors and circuits make the decision. In smart models, sensors, software, and connected features make the decision. But all of them are answering the same question over and over again. Is the room where you want it to be yet? That is what makes thermostats such a great example of everyday technology. They are small, common, easy to ignore, and actually very clever. They connect simple science, household comfort, energy use, and technological change all in one object. And once you understand that a thermostat is basically an on and off brain for your heating and cooling system, a lot of everyday behavior around it starts to make more sense. So if you remember only one thing from this video, make it this. Your thermostat usually does not control how hard your system heats. It mainly controls when the system starts and when it stops. That one idea explains both the old mechanical thermostat and the modern smart one. Different design, same mission. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Then tap the bell icon to turn on all notifications so you never miss any of our future videos.